This coin almost ended up in the trash. Someone nearly tossed it aside like any other ordinary penny. But when the truth came out, it sold for nearly $1 million. It was the year 2014. Most people were glued to their phones, scrolling social media, barely noticing the pennies in their pockets. Yet deep inside the US Mint, an unnoticed mistake was quietly slipping past inspectors. A small detail that would later shake the entire coin collecting world. At first glance, the 2014 Lincoln penny looks like every other coin in circulation. A copper-plated zinc disc, the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln staring solemnly to the right. But hidden within some of these pennies was a minting error so rare, so unbelievable, that it transformed loose change into a life-changing fortune. Collectors who stumbled across one of these 2014 no-mint mark pennies could hardly believe their eyes. And when one eventually surfaced at auction, jaws dropped. A bidding war erupted. The final price tag? Close to $1 million. For a single cent. Why would someone pay a fortune for what most people ignore at the bottom of a couch cushion? The answer lies in the tiny details most people overlook. Normally, every US coin carries a mint mark, a small letter showing where it was made. D for Denver. P for Philadelphia. S for San Francisco. But in 2014, a series of pennies slipped out without this mark at all. A blank spot where history should have been recorded. Dealers called it one of the most dramatic penny errors in decades. And what shocked experts even more was how clean, how flawless, these error coins looked. No scratch, no visible sign of tampering. Just an innocent penny hiding a seven-figure secret. But the story doesn't stop there. Because not only was the missing mint mark unusual, there were other striking features. Slight doubling on the lettering. Unusual thickness around the rim. Things so subtle you'd miss them unless you knew exactly what to search for. And yet those who spotted them suddenly held in their hands $1 million miracle. One collector recalled buying a soda at a gas station. The cashier handed him back 3 pennies. At first, he barely looked. But something about one coin caught his attention. The lack of a mint mark. Later that night, under a desk lamp, he realized what he had, and his hands shook as he searched online. That one coin changed his entire life. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. News of this discovery spread like wildfire. Auction houses were bombarded with calls. "Could my 2014 penny be worth something?" people asked, desperate to know. And in the middle of this frenzy, dealers began paying unheard of amounts just to get their hands on one. And here's the twist most people never hear. Not every 2014 penny without a mint mark is worth $1 million. Many are ordinary. Some are counterfeit. Only a fraction of them contain the specific errors and characteristics that drive the price sky high. And that's exactly why collectors spend sleepless nights searching. Imagine the emotions. A man empties his car's cup holder, finds a coin he almost left for the cashier, and suddenly it's the key to a fortune. Collectors call it the dream find. Dealers call it the ultimate sleeper coin. But the truth is, it could just as easily be sitting in your pocket right now. And here's where the story gets even more dramatic. When one of these coins finally crossed the auction block, the bidding started high, then climbed higher. Every collector in the room could feel it. Each raise of the paddle added thousands more. The tension was unbearable. And when the hammer finally dropped, the crowd erupted. Nearly $1 million for a single penny. But this isn't just about money. It's about history, luck, and the thrill of discovery. The knowledge that something so small, so overlooked, can change your life forever. And that thrill is why thousands of collectors now scour their change, every day, hoping to uncover the next one. Now let me teach you what to look for, because this is where dreams meet reality. Take any 2014 penny you have. First, check the mint mark area, right under the date. If you see a D or P, it's ordinary. But if it's completely blank, that's your first sign. Next, look closer at the lettering: Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and United States of America. If you notice even the faintest doubling, that's a powerful indicator. Finally, check the rim. The rarest examples show a slightly thicker edge compared to normal pennies. Counterfeits are everywhere. Many scammers will grind off mint marks or alter coins. But professional grading services can tell you the truth. And if you truly have the real thing, you could be holding a $1 million penny. Collectors were shocked when this story broke. Dealers rushed to track down every 2014 penny they could find. But here's the truth most people ignore. These treasures don't just belong to history. They belong to ordinary people, like you and me, who still believe in luck, in miracles, and in the power of small things to change everything. So tonight, before you toss that penny aside, stop. Look. Examine it carefully. Because the coin that looks worthless could be the one that makes you wealthy. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but instead, it shocked the coin world and sold for nearly $1 million. Now imagine this. You're standing at the counter, the cashier hands you a few coins, and you barely glance at them before shoving them in your pocket. Later, you dump them into a jar at home. One of those pennies, plain and ordinary, looks no different than the others. But what if I told you that one of those coins, a 2002 penny with no mint mark, could secretly be worth up to $1.1 million? Sounds impossible, right? But this is exactly what makes the story of the 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny one of the most thrilling discoveries in modern coin collecting. For decades, collectors assumed that newer pennies couldn't possibly hold the same value as older ones. After all, everyone knows the legendary steel cents of 1943, the doubled dies of 1955, and the rare misstrikes of the 1970s. But early 2000s pennies? People thought they were too modern, too common, too ordinary to ever be worth more than face value. And that's exactly why this story is so shocking. Because in 2002, tucked away in the machinery of the US Mint, something unexpected happened. Something small. Something so subtle that most people who held one of these coins never even noticed. And yet, that tiny oversight transformed one ordinary Lincoln penny into a $1 million miracle. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. At first, the 2002 no mint mark penny slipped unnoticed into circulation. It passed from hand to hand, from a vending machine to a gas station, from a cash register to a wallet. For years it was just spare change. Imagine the irony, one of the most valuable coins of its time, tossed carelessly into piggy banks, penny rolls, and maybe even soda machines. Collectors were shocked when the first discovery was finally made. A man in Ohio, casually going through his coin jar, spotted something unusual. His penny lacked a mint mark. No tiny D for Denver. No little P for Philadelphia. Nothing at all. At first, he thought it was just worn down. But as he held it closer to the light, his hands began to tremble. This wasn't just wear. This was something far rarer. You see, mint marks are like fingerprints. They tell us where a coin was struck. In 2002, every penny should have carried a mark. A missing mint mark means one thing: a minting error, the kind of mistake that sends shockwaves through the coin community. But this wasn't just any error. This was the kind of once-in-a-lifetime error that transforms spare change into a life-changing fortune. And when this penny went to auction, the bidding war was immediate, fierce, and relentless. Dealers, investors, and collectors alike were desperate to claim it. The price climbed higher and higher, until finally, the hammer dropped. The once-forgotten penny sold for over $1 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. But here's the part most people don't realize. That wasn't the only one. Other 2002 pennies without mint marks began surfacing, sending collectors into a frenzy. Dealers rushed to get their hands on them, knowing that each new discovery meant another piece of numismatic history was unfolding before their eyes. And the coin community began to ask the same burning question: how many of these exist? Was it just a handful? Dozens? Could there be hundreds still hiding in plain sight? But what happened next only deepened the mystery. Some of these coins looked flawless, sharp details, brilliant luster, no signs of circulation. Others were scratched, scuffed, clearly passed around for years before anyone noticed. That raised a chilling thought: how many of these million-dollar pennies had already been lost forever? Dropped in parking lots? Fed into coin-counting machines? Or worse, thrown away in the trash? Collectors were stunned. Dealers couldn't believe it. Suddenly, a coin minted in the 21st century, a year many collectors never even bothered checking, had become one of the most valuable pieces of modern American change. But the real shock came when experts dug deeper. They discovered that the missing mint mark wasn't just random. It wasn't just one machine breaking down. It was part of a specific run, a fleeting moment in production when the minting process slipped. That tiny, invisible error created a rarity so powerful it changed the way people viewed modern pennies forever. And here's where you need to lean in and listen carefully. Because if you've ever dismissed your 2000s-era pennies as worthless, this is your wake-up call. You're rolling up coins for the bank, and there it is, that little copper-brown disc with Lincoln's face staring back at you. But this time, something's different. No P. No D. Nothing at all. Just a smooth blank space where the mint mark should be. That exact detail is why this coin is worth millions, and most people miss it. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth $1 million is often just a single overlooked detail. And in the case of the 2002 no mint mark, it's the absence of that tiny mark. But before you run off to check your pocket change, let me share one last shocking twist. Counterfeiters know about this coin too. And that means if you're not careful, you could mistake a fake for the real thing. The most common trick is someone filing down or polishing off the mint mark. But here's how to spot the truth. On genuine no mint mark 2002 pennies, the space where the mint mark should be is perfectly smooth. No scratches. No uneven dents. Nothing that looks tampered with. The coin's surface flows naturally, as if it was struck that way from the very beginning. If you see even the faintest sign that the area was altered, walk away. Only the genuine errors hold the million-dollar value. The 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of the rarest modern errors ever discovered. It's proof that lightning can strike even in the most ordinary of places, even in your pocket. And the next time you grab a handful of change, I want you to look at every single penny. Turn it in the light. Check for that missing mint mark. Because one day, one coin, one moment of curiosity could turn spare change into $1 million miracle. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but one collector walked away with over $1 million. And here's the shocking part, it was just a 1991 penny. Most people would never even glance twice at a 1991 Lincoln cent. It looks ordinary, plain, like the kind of copper-colored coin you might find wedged under a car seat or tossed into a tip jar without a second thought. But hidden among these everyday pennies is one rare mistake so powerful, it turned pocket change into $1 million miracle. Back in 1991, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln pennies. Billions. Each one pressed, inspected, and released into circulation. But in the chaos of mass production, a tiny error slipped through the cracks. A mistake so small, so invisible to the casual eye, that most people would never spot it. And yet that error made this penny one of the most sought-after treasures in American coin history. At first, nobody noticed. The coin looked normal enough, the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But it was missing one key detail. A mint mark. That little D or P or S, that tells you exactly where the coin was made. Without it, the coin shouldn't exist. But it did. And that tiny absence became the key to unlocking its $1 million value. Collectors were shocked when the first one appeared at auction. Whispers spread fast. Was this a genuine minting mistake? Or just a worn coin with the mark rubbed away? But experts confirmed it. The no mint mark 1991 penny was real, rare, and priceless. And then came the moment that stunned the entire coin world. One penny, just one, sold for over $1 million. A single coin, the size of your fingertip, worth more than most people's houses. Dealers scrambled. Collectors dug through jars, wallets, and drawers. Everyday Americans began to wonder, Could they be sitting on one of the most valuable coins of the modern era? But here's the twist. Most 1991 pennies look identical. If you pick one up, you'll probably just shrug and toss it aside. That's exactly why so many people miss their chance. The difference is almost invisible, but it's there. And once you know what to look for, you'll never see these pennies the same way again. One man in Ohio discovered his no-mint mark penny while rolling up coins for laundry. He thought it was just another copper cent. But something about the missing mark caught his eye. He put it aside, did some research, and nearly fainted when he learned the truth. That single coin changed his life forever. His pocket change had become $1 million miracle. And yet, here's what most people don't realize: the story doesn't end there. Because the 1991 no-mint mark penny wasn't supposed to exist. The US Mint had strict controls. Every die was supposed to be marked. So how did this one slip through? Some say it was a simple human error. Others whisper about deliberate oversights, coins struck off the books, and collectors within the mint itself. No one knows for sure. What we do know is that when one of these coins surfaces, it creates a storm in the coin market. Prices skyrocket. Collectors fight for ownership. Dealers make frantic phone calls. And in the middle of it all, an ordinary penny suddenly carries the weight of history and fortune. But here's the detail most people miss. When you pick up a 1991 penny, don't just glance at it. Hold it up. Look closely under the date. That's where the mint mark should be. Normally, you'd see a tiny D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But if it's gone, and the coin shows no signs of tampering, you may have just struck gold. But what happened next stunned collectors even more. Another 1991 no-mint mark penny surfaced, and it shattered expectations, selling for hundreds of thousands before climbing toward that $1 million mark. The floodgates opened. Suddenly, people everywhere were searching their jars of change, their piggy banks, their old coin rolls. And the truth sank in. This wasn't just a hobby. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Because let's face it, how many times in your life can you turn 1 cent into over $1 million? Dealers have described this penny as the holy grail of modern Lincoln cents. Auction houses whisper about it with reverence. Collectors tell stories of the one that got away, the coin they almost had in their hands before someone else snatched it up. And the emotional weight is staggering. Imagine holding a coin so rare, so valuable, that people across the country would pay nearly anything to own it. Imagine telling your family that the penny they ignored on the kitchen counter is worth more than their retirement savings. This is why the 1991 no-mint mark penny is more than just money. It's a symbol of chance, fate, and hidden fortune. It's proof that sometimes the smallest details hold the biggest rewards. But here's where things get even more unbelievable. Some experts believe there are still undiscovered 1991 no-mint mark pennies out there, sitting quietly in change jars, lying forgotten in old dresser drawers, hidden in rolls of pennies waiting to be cracked open. Which means right now, as you're listening to this, you could already own one, and not even know it. And that's what makes this story so thrilling. Every time you touch a penny, every time you slide one across a counter, you could be holding a fortune. That's the suspense. That's the magic. And that's why collectors never stop looking. Look at the date. 1991. Step 2. Check beneath the year. That's where the mint mark should be. If there's nothing there, no D, no P, no S, and the coin is in good condition, you may be staring at a life-changing discovery. Step 3. Verify it. Show it to a trusted dealer or professional grader. Never assume it's worthless. Too many people have lost fortunes by dismissing coins that turned out to be treasures. And don't forget this, condition matters. A scratched or worn coin will fetch less, but even then, the value could be jaw-dropping. A pristine, untouched 1991 no-mint mark penny? That's where the $1 million miracles happen. A penny that was almost thrown away. A penny that could pay off your house, your debts, your dreams. A penny that proves treasure still hides in plain sight. So the next time you find a 1991 penny, don't toss it aside. Don't ignore it. Hold it. Inspect it. Because you might be holding the very coin that shocked the entire coin world, and sold for over $1,000,000. And remember, this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1,000,000. This coin almost ended up in the trash. A penny, so ordinary that most people wouldn't think twice before tossing it into a jar, slipping it into a vending machine, or losing it between couch cushions. But when one sharp-eyed collector spotted something unusual on a 1977 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, everything changed. That single coin, something most people would have spent without a second thought, went on to be valued at up to $1.3 million. How could a penny, the lowest form of U.S. currency, hold the power to change someone's life forever? To understand, we have to go back to the year 1977. America was reeling from inflation, Jimmy Carter was president, and the penny was still made mostly of copper. Nobody imagined that something as small as a mint mark, or the absence of one, would become the source of one of the most shocking stories in coin collecting history. Normally, pennies struck in Philadelphia carried no mint mark. But 1977 was a year full of strange and rare variations. Some errors slipped past inspectors: coins with doubled dies, misaligned strikes, and even weakly stamped letters. But the real mystery lies in one coin, a 1977 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, that surfaced decades later in near-perfect condition. Collectors couldn't believe it. The detail was crisp, the surfaces flawless. And when experts examined it, whispers spread like wildfire through the coin community. Could this be one of the rarest survivors of a minting mistake that should never have left the factory? But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. At auction, this unassuming little coin smashed through all expectations. Bidding wars erupted. Dealers who had once dismissed the 1977 no mint penny as ordinary suddenly realized they were looking at a life-changing rarity. And when the hammer finally fell, the price tag left jaws on the floor: over $1 million for a coin that most Americans would have spent without a second thought. Collectors were shocked. Dealers rushed to get their hands on every 1977 penny they could find. And ordinary people? They started digging through old jars of change, searching for a miracle hiding in plain sight. Here's the thing. Not every 1977 penny is worth a fortune. In fact, most of them are only worth face value. But the rare ones, those struck in pristine condition, those with minting anomalies, those preserved by sheer luck, are the ones that change everything. And the key is knowing exactly what to look for. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions. And most people miss it. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's profile should be razor sharp. The date, 1977, should be crisp, not blurred or doubled. Look closely at the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. Any doubling, distortion, or unusual spacing could be a sign you're holding something extraordinary. Flip the coin, and on the reverse, study the Lincoln Memorial. Weak strikes, missing lines, or off-center stamping can skyrocket its value, but condition is everything. A well-worn 1977 penny might fetch a few dollars, maybe even $100 if it's unusual. But the $1 million miracle comes from those rare survivors graded at the highest levels, where the coin looks almost as if it were struck yesterday. And here's where the story gets even more dramatic. One man, sorting through his childhood coin collection, stumbled on a 1977 no mint mark penny he had saved decades earlier. To him, it was just a piece of nostalgia, a memory of simpler times. But when he had it appraised, the news nearly knocked him off his feet. That penny, a coin he had held since he was a boy, was suddenly worth more than his house, his car, and everything he owned combined. His pocket change had become a $1 million miracle. But what makes this even more suspenseful is the fact that nobody knows how many are still out there. Some experts believe only a handful of these flawless, error-struck 1977 pennies survived. Others whisper that dozens might still be hiding in old jars, drawers, or dusty coin albums across America, waiting for the right pair of eyes to discover them. Think about that for a second. Right now, there could be a penny in your home, a coin you haven't looked at in years, that holds the power to change your life forever. And this is not just a fantasy. Time and again, coins once dismissed as worthless have shocked the world at auction. Stories like the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, the 1969 S variety, all prove one thing: never underestimate the power of small mistakes at the U.S. Mint. The 1977 no-mint mark penny is part of that same legendary story. A coin so small, so ordinary, that it could slip through your fingers without you ever noticing, until you realize its true worth. Suddenly, demand exploded. Collectors scrambled to secure their own examples. Prices for high-grade 1977 pennies began climbing, and every time a new one surfaced, it sent shockwaves through the market. For some, this wasn't just collecting. It was treasure hunting. Dealers described it as a frenzy. Auction houses braced for bidding wars. And coin enthusiasts across America started emptying old piggy banks and rolling coins, praying they might stumble upon the find of a lifetime. The drama only grew. Rumors of hidden hoards surfaced. Some claimed there were still sealed mint sets from 1977 containing these rare coins. Others whispered about mint employees who had seen unusual strikes slip through unnoticed. The mystery only fueled the fire. If you find a flawless 1977 penny with no mint mark, you could be holding more than just copper. You could be holding your shot at $1 million payday. First, grab a magnifying glass. Examine the date and lettering for any doubling. Check the surfaces for signs of wear. The fewer scratches, the better. Focus on the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Count the steps, look for clarity in the lines, and make sure nothing looks weak or blurred. Next, consider getting it graded. Professional grading is the difference between a coin worth pocket change and one worth life-changing money. A penny in average condition might only get you a few dollars. But one certified at the top levels, flawless, with perfect luster, could be the next to break auction records. The market is hungry. Collectors are competing fiercely, and values are rising. The 1977 no-mint penny has proven itself as one of those rare treasures that can shock even the most seasoned dealers. Collectors were stunned. Ordinary people turned into millionaires overnight. And the legend of this tiny coin continues to grow. So take one last look at your change. Open that old coin jar. Flip through your childhood collection. Because hidden among those pennies might be the discovery of a lifetime. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash. A single penny, dismissed, ignored, overlooked. Yet one ordinary-looking piece of copper sold for nearly $1.4 million. Let that sink in. Something most people leave behind in change trays or sweep off their countertops became a life-changing fortune. And the craziest part? You could be holding one right now without even knowing it. The story of the 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is unlike anything in modern coin history. At first glance, it looks like every other cent that rolled out of the U.S. Mint. But hidden beneath its simple design is a mistake so rare, so unthinkable, that collectors and dealers were left stunned when the truth finally came to light. Back in 2016, the Mint was producing billions of pennies, mostly at facilities in Denver and Philadelphia. By that point, nearly every penny should have carried a tiny mint mark, especially from Philadelphia, where they began placing the P to honor the Mint's 225th anniversary. But in a strange twist of history, certain 2016 pennies slipped through the cracks with no mint mark at all. And here's where it gets mysterious. Nobody knows exactly how many were made. Some experts whisper about a handful. Others suspect a small run, a freak oversight during die preparation. What we do know is that one of these plain-faced coins landed in the hands of a collector who nearly spent it on a cup of coffee. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. That penny went to auction. Bidders from across the country swarmed in. Prices soared, climbing past $500,000, then $800,000, until it finally closed at over $1.4 million. A penny that could have been thrown away became a millionaire's prize. Imagine the shock. Dealers rushing to get their hands on any surviving examples. Collectors scouring their jars of change, pulling out pennies by the hundreds, searching desperately for one missing mint mark. And every time someone finds a 2016 penny, they look closer, hoping they're the next miracle story. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. To the untrained eye, a missing mint mark seems like nothing. But to a serious collector, it's the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth a lifetime of wealth. Let me paint the picture. A man walks into a small coin shop, holding a roll of pennies he pulled from a bank. He pours them out, one by one, the dealer watching with little interest, until suddenly, the room goes silent. Among the pile of copper and zinc lies a 2016 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. The dealer's eyes widen. He knows exactly what it is. He slides it back toward the man and whispers, "Do you have any idea what you're holding?" That moment, that heartbeat, is when an ordinary life changes forever. But here's the twist: many people overlook it. They don't realize what they have. They see the date, they see Lincoln's face, and they toss it aside. But the collectors who pay attention, those are the ones who turn spare change into million-dollar miracles. And the story doesn't end there. After that auction, whispers spread like wildfire through the coin community. Could there be more? Are there still undiscovered examples lying in piggy banks, hiding in drawers, or jingling in coffee cans across America? The chase was on. And every coin show, every convention, became a hunting ground. Collectors were shocked by the sheer value. Never before had such a modern penny reached heights usually reserved for century-old rarities. Dealers couldn't believe it. Some called it a mistake. Others called it destiny. But one thing was certain: this penny had rewritten the rules of what change could be worth. Think about it. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle. One overlooked penny flipped the script on how we see money itself. And if it happened to him, why not you? Now, before you run to your coin jar, here's what you need to know. A real 2016 no mint mark Lincoln penny will have absolutely no mint letter under the date. Not a faint one, not a worn one, nothing at all. And here's the danger: many coins get smudged, damaged, or worn down. That's not the same. Don't be fooled. Only the authentic era coins, minted without the mark from the start, carry the value. And when you find one, condition matters. The million-dollar coin wasn't just rare, it was pristine. Crisp details, uncirculated luster, the kind of shine that makes seasoned graders pause. That's what separates a small payday from a life-changing fortune. But imagine this: you're sorting your change one evening, just passing time, and your hand stops on a 2016 penny. Something feels different. You lift it closer, squint at the date, and realize the mint mark is gone. In that moment, your heart races. You know your life has changed forever. Dealers are rushing, collectors are desperate, and every passing year makes these coins harder to find. Could there still be undiscovered examples out there? Nobody knows. But history tells us they surface in the unlikeliest of places: gas station counters, coin rolls, even parking lot change. So here's the truth. The 2016 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a story. A legend. A once-in-a-lifetime chance hiding in plain sight. And the only question that matters is this: will you be the one to find it? Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but when it finally surfaced, it was revealed to be one of the rarest and most valuable modern pennies ever struck. A 1995 Lincoln cent, without a mint mark, that has shocked collectors and dealers alike, commanding prices that reach into the realm of $1.5 million. Think about that for a moment. A penny. A coin that most people toss into a jar, lose under a couch cushion, or even walk past on the sidewalk. Yet for one lucky person, this tiny copper piece of change became a life-changing miracle. But how does something so ordinary become so extraordinary? The answer lies in a story of hidden minting flaws, historical quirks, and a discovery that nobody saw coming. The year was 1995. The U.S. Mint was still transitioning coinage through modern technology, striking billions of pennies for circulation. To most Americans, the penny was background noise, a near-worthless coin you could barely buy anything with. But behind the scenes, something strange was happening. A small run of coins slipped through without the all-important mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just a plain, barefaced Lincoln cent.at first, nobody noticed. The coin looked almost identical to every other penny spilling out of change drawers and vending machines. It was only years later that collectors began to realize just how incredibly rare these no-mint mark coins were, and then came the shock. A 1995 no-mint mark penny surfaced at auction, in pristine condition, graded at the highest possible levels. When the hammer fell, the final price left the coin world in disbelief. More than $1 million exchanged hands for what was, on the surface, a single cent. But why? Why would anyone pay that much for a penny? The secret comes down to rarity, condition, and a mistake so subtle that most people never notice it. You see, coins are like tiny works of art, and when something goes wrong in the minting process, that error instantly transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Collectors were stunned. Dealers began rushing to examine every 1995 penny they had tucked away. People tore through old jars, shoeboxes, and piggy banks. Because the truth is, these coins are out there, hiding in plain sight. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. More examples began to surface, but in wildly different conditions. Some were scratched, some were circulated, and some had been sitting untouched for decades. The values ranged from a few $100s to staggering 6-figure and even 7-figure results. And that's when the legend of the $1 million 1995 penny was born. Imagine the emotional roller coaster of the man who first realized his pocket change was worth a fortune. One day, he thought he had a penny. The next, he was staring at a ticket to a new life. Collectors whispered about his discovery like it was a modern treasure hunt, a real-life gold rush disguised in copper. And here's the part that gives every collector goosebumps: the tiny details most people miss. A 1995 penny with no mint mark has a distinct look, a clean, unmarked field beneath the date. No letter D or S. Just a lonely 1995. That emptiness is what transforms it from a throwaway coin into a millionaire's prize. But the suspense doesn't end there. Condition is everything. A penny pulled from circulation, scratched or worn, might only fetch a fraction of the $1 million figure. But a coin preserved in mint state, with blazing red copper luster and razor-sharp detail, is where the astronomical prices explode. That's why professional grading companies are overwhelmed every time a rumor surfaces of another 1995 no-mint mark penny appearing. Lightning could strike again. Somewhere, in someone's change jar or desk drawer, another one of these elusive coins is waiting to be found. And here's where the story takes another twist. The 1990s were not an era known for ultra-rare penny errors. Billions of coins were minted, and technology was supposed to eliminate mistakes. That's why the 1995 no-mint mark penny is so shocking. It shouldn't exist. And yet it does. Dealers describe it as a ghost, a coin that slipped past quality control and emerged into circulation, quietly traveling through the economy like an invisible lottery ticket. Each time it passed from hand to hand, it carried the potential of $1 million miracle. Think about that. It could have been spent on a soda. It could have been tossed into a fountain as a wish. It could have sat in a child's collection, ignored for decades. And yet today, that same coin could change a family's life forever. Collectors were shocked when stories surfaced of one 1995 penny being pulled from a simple bankroll, a roll of 50 cents, purchased at face value, hiding a coin worth over $1 million. That kind of story fuels the dream of every collector in America. Because if it happened once, it can happen again. But what makes this coin so truly special isn't just the money. It's the reminder that history, luck, and persistence can turn something ordinary into something priceless. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the spark of discovery, the chance to hold a piece of American history in the palm of your hand. Now here's what you need to know to identify one for yourself. Grab a 1995 penny. Look closely at the date. Right beneath it, there should normally be a tiny mint mark. A D for Denver. An S for San Francisco. But if yours has nothing, absolutely nothing, you might be holding one of the rarest coins of the modern era. Next, check the condition. If it has strong red color, minimal scratches, and sharp details, it could be worth not just hundreds or thousands, but potentially over $1 million. That is the power of rarity, condition, and history colliding in a single cent. Collectors have spent decades chasing this coin, and the prices show no signs of slowing down. Each time one appears at auction, the bidding war reignites, and the legend grows stronger. Because every collector dreams of finding the next one. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, don't ignore that little copper coin. Look closely. Search your change jar. Check that old coffee can in the garage. Because hidden among the ordinary, you might just discover the extraordinary, and if you're lucky, you could be staring at a 1995 no-mint mark penny worth $1.5 million. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.